Hello and welcome to Radiant Realization with Namrata. Today I have with me Madhulika Sharma. Sorry. Hello and welcome to Radiant Realization with Namrata. Today I have with me Madhulika Sharma. Madhulika is a ICF certified relationship and consciousness coach. She is on a journey to build a community to help women build a healthier relationship. Welcome, Madhulika. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Namrata. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Madhulika, you're doing a lot of work in helping women how to build healthier relationships. If you can tell a little bit about what got you started in this field and what keeps you ongoing each day.
Okay, so in this journey, I am actually a lawyer, and I had been practicing for almost 8, 9 years before my before COVID, and it was COVID when I delivered my baby, and after that I started practicing again, but somewhere I felt that I'm not able to use my skills, and my skills were observing analysis of human behavior, and I've been doing this for since my childhood, like something solving problems for people coming up to me and opening up. I did certain programs and courses 10 years back, which also led to coaching. However, I did not pursue it as a profession. I was like, I want to be a lawyer and a judge and that line. So, but somewhere my skill set uh, is such that it helps me listen well, listen to people, find what is missing, and try to navigate them. So I'm good at that. So I thought, why not coaching? And that's when I decided to do a course, proper course, and professionally got certified in 2022 and started my journey then. So it's been a roller coaster. And this side of helping women, uh, it actually is something very close to me because as a mother, also, I've realized that we're reborn. It's a rebirth. There's so much that we do, and there's so many emotions that we go through in our life, and some are able to process them, some are able to not process them. Living a conscious life really helps you to build good relationships, have a healthier and happier life. So what I was doing, I thought I can help other women also to do the same thing, because as mothers were reaching out to me to how did you do this and how did you do that, how did you make your son eat your on his own, how do you manage it so well. So I realized that this is something I'm good at. Why shouldn't I go and help other moms to do the same thing, ease out their lives, make it more healthy and happier.
Okay. So, Madhulika, coming to the topic now on toxic relationship. So,
Yeah.
what common patterns have you observed with your client when they are undergoing phase of relationship which is considered toxic for their mental health?
That's a good question, Namrita. Toxicity, these days we talk about toxic relationships a lot. And this is actually a very heavy word to use, toxic. Something that completely takes out the life out of you is toxic, right? So, and you can always see these patterns in your relationship, maybe early on or later also. However, some of them are like emotional manipulations. It can be also dominance and controlling. Many times I've seen partners controlling each other. And it happens most of the time. One is more assertive, the other one is more submissive. And that's how it goes. But all the time, when it's happening with someone, when he's submissive or she's submissive, it really takes out that life out of them. It becomes toxic. For example, like you can also use guilt as one of the uh, things to control the other person. Like saying, ki, will you not do this for me? Things like that. People just do things for the other person without realizing what they're doing them to themselves. So these are actually patterns that they can which appear in a relationship early on.
And how does an individual identify that they are stuck in a relationship which is toxic? Because while doing anything for your loved ones, you don't realize that this is toxic for my health. So, how do they realize that then it's now time to change and come out of this relationship?
There are early signs. I call them, I mean, we call them red flags. I think repetition of something which is happening again and again in your relationship, that's a red flag. That is something that you can identify easily. There are many times girls, especially in a relationship, when they're dating, they'll be like, हमेशा मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है, and हमेशा मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है. We're always fighting for the one reason. You know, that repetition without resolution is a red flag. So, like, it can be anything, a fight relating to an unresolved issue, like the guy asking the girl to restrain herself from talking to other guys. You know, this is one of the basic things that every woman faces in her relationship. And this can be taken in a healthy manner and an unhealthy manner also. There's a line that you need to see. Um, it can be a red flag when the other person is too much forcing you to do something and not trusting you at all. So there is no space of trust. And a person can easily identify where she is always being pointed out that you are wrong in doing something, made feel guilty about something that she has not done. So this is something that you remain stuck in because you are always clinging on to the relationship. It's not the love that you're holding on to. It's actually something else. It's fear of being alone sometimes, fear of being left out. There can be many patterns. And I have seen these patterns, repeatedly coming up in relationships.
So, how does individual get impacted emotionally? How does an individual get impacted emotionally when they are going through this type of relationship?
Mhm. So, um, emotional and the emotional impact is huge, psychologically and emotionally. In a relationship like this, one feels in fear. There is no space to actually say or express your own emotions or feelings to the other person. You can't express yourself to your own partner, and there is no space. There's no freedom. Psychological impact is huge, like because many times in that relationship, either you're blamed or you feel guilty about something. You lower down your self-esteem. You lower down your self-esteem to a level where you start to victimize yourself. You uh, you become a victim to every situation, and you feel that uh, this is happening with me, and that leads to anxiety, feeling of left alone, and it just increases your anxiety levels because this is all psychological. To see actually, it's you're making your mind think that you are the one who is left out in this relationship. Nobody cares about you. Your partner doesn't care about you. There's no emotional love or because हमें लगता है कि हम कितना करते हैं लेकिन सामने वाला हमारे लिए कुछ नहीं कर रहा, you know. And काफी काफी बार we have this thought again and again, circling, swirling up in your head and mind, making you feel bad about yourself, making you go down, depressed. And this leaves no space for your own self. यहाँ तो self आ ही नहीं सकता because your true self is actually someone who thinks she's a queen. She is confident. She is above all this. She can be loved. तो वहाँ self love एकदम खत्म हो जाता है. And sometimes it is so huge that you carry those fears. There's a lot of fears in that relationship. I can't do this, I can't do that, I cannot go there, and I can't talk to this person or that person. There's so much of insecurity that you carry that forward every time. In I think especially if you're in a relationship for many years, then the mental state is very traumatic.
And what initial step can a person take if they want to break free from this toxic relationship?
I think first thing to get free from anything is awareness. Awareness of what's really happening, of the situation, awareness of the relationship you are in, what you are doing as a person, and what you are letting the other person do to you. That's also awareness, because I feel that in a relationship, you allow the other person certain things to do to you. It's us who set the boundaries, setting boundaries, not like you are different and I am different, but there are certain healthy boundaries, like certain things that I am I. There's an I also here, individual also, and there us also. But in that us, if you set a boundary where you can seek support, you are aware of what you're allowing that person to make you feel like, that is a first step to be aware of first, to start a healthy conversation with anyone. Communication may not be the first one, because I feel that you can't communicate from a space where you're feeling insecure. First, you have to feel secure. First, being aware, then setting boundaries. So saying no and saying someone that you can't do this is difficult in a relationship. Especially with husband, wife, it's difficult. It becomes difficult with girlfriend, boyfriends as well. And because um, somewhere we have this feeling of the other person might feel otherwise if I say something like this or that, and there's so many questions and hesitations. So always seek support for this. I feel everyone should seek support if they're not if they're having troubles in setting boundaries. So because we talk about self-love these days, and somewhere self-love is only restricted to your physical and material world. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, So, Madhulika, you spoke about reduction in self-esteem because you are not treated the way you want to be treated. So, in this situation, do you feel any childhood experience or childhood memories impact, and the events that we experience now is just making us just they're just telling us that this is what you are.
Yes, I agree with this that the past always has an impact on you because we've never taught how to deal with these things, never taught anything to how to process emotions or anything like that. So being in a unhealthy environment, unhealthy dynamics in your childhood is has a huge impact on our relationships now. Like if we were uh, if would we were dominated and in our childhood somewhere, and today we try to project that dominance in our relationship somewhere. So if I have to say that uh, it's how you see your parents. If I feel that my if I was told that झूठ नहीं बोलना है, you don't have to, and I was punished for that, that you should always say the right thing and be truthful and not lie, then I will always do that in my adulthood and also try to please everyone and justify everyone that I'm not lying, I'm truthful. It's how you see your parents, how they have been as a couple, and how they have treated each other or you also at the same time. How was your relationship with them? Has a huge impact on our relationships today. Because if we see insecurities, if we see a lot of fights, we tend to think that, okay, marriages are like this only. Why should I get married? I don't want to be like my parents. Many people don't get married. People feel that this is a lot of responsibility, a lot that they don't want to do. They have a choice. It's a responsibility to procreate, to have children. So don't want to do that also. So it's how you see your parents, yourself. If you've had some trauma or bad experiences in your past, you will carry that forward. If I've had multiple breakups with the same person and it's happening because of some reason, so I'm going to carry that forward to the other person as well. Unless I, complete that past in the past and not carry that experience and energy towards my future. We unconsciously do it. These patterns are very unconscious. Hmm.
Madhulika, just give me a minute, just a minute.
Sure.
In all the discussion that we are doing, what I realize is self-awareness is much more important than the level of importance we give to it. So, I would like to know from you what is the role of self-awareness in identifying where do you stand in that relationship?
Again, that's a brilliant question, Namrita. We feel that self-awareness. Why do we need self-awareness? Or sometimes we go and have webinars on self-awareness. People don't sign up because they don't know what self-awareness is. So self-awareness is actually a key to everything. The more you're aware of your own self, your own emotions, where you are triggered, where you will react, where how your emotional responses are to certain things, the better person you will be. not just for the outside world, for your own self also, for your own peace of mind as well. Like, for example, if I'm a reactive person, if I'm a reactive boss, then my employees will be always in fear and not even communicate anything to me. And the communication gaps will be there. So, not good for business as well. Professionally, if we see, if I'm triggered by certain things, if I don't like being dominated, or I don't like men always talk about women in a different manner, and I'm a feminist, then that will trigger me and I will lose my peace of mind. So self-awareness helps you to break free from all these patterns and cycles. And it allows us to take better actions, not by just logically thinking, but also by actually what is more appropriate to the situation. In a relationship, if we see, self-awareness is very important because it helps to reduce our fights. It makes it more mature. We can take one step further. First, we are fighting for uh, this is mine, that is mine, and this is my space, and that is your space. Later, we are just fighting for this is our space, and these are our conditions, and we have to follow and mutually respect each other. So, if we come from a space where uh, you start in a relationship, you initially have issues like um, you don't give me time, and don't talk to that person, don't talk to this person. After 5 years, your problems will be different. You'll be like, okay, when traveling, I have issues with you. I don't like this about you. I don't like this thing about you. So you're also getting aware of yourself and about your partner. So self-awareness is about your own space that you're creating. In a relationship, it's a space of two individuals coming together, setting those boundaries, how you trust each other, how you respect each other is reflected in your behavior. How you speak, how you talk, how you actually project them in the world also. So, being aware of who you are, loving your own self, makes you respect the other person also. Makes you helps you to develop that compassion and love for the other person also. So self-awareness of your own triggers, you also start realizing, okay, that person might have this trigger. Okay, my husband does not like this. So I'm not going to act in certain manner. To not because I'm changing myself for him, because I want to make him feel comfortable in our relationship. I don't want to dominate or assert myself. The reasons change. If I say a wife is being very dominant, shouting all the time and nagging all the time. Some husbands are very nice and they just listen and they go silent when they want to have a fight or get angry. There's no communication. So unless the wife is self-aware of the fact that she's assertive and she's reacting to things, she takes responsibility of her own actions and her anger. I don't think the husband will not start trusting the wife in that manner. I may, because the husband is not sharing anything. Husband wants to keep quiet because he feels that if whatever he says will be thrown out, will not be listened to. So I feel that is the relationship self-awareness creates. Uh, it's a huge responsibility for a person to have that awareness.
After building awareness, how can an individual set healthy boundaries with loved ones?
Absolutely. How can we create? So, how can we create boundaries is, by creating a space of love to grow. See, a space is not like demarcated in the house. This is our space. The space is here in our mind. What is our intention for this relationship? That really matters. Intention maybe of loving the other person, no matter what. And that is accepting the good and the bad, both. Accepting their likes and dislikes. So, respecting each other's opinions. We say, we should agree to disagree. That disagreement is not right or wrong. It's about understanding each other's opinions, their mind, the way they work. It's about involving clear communication. Setting those limits as to if we have a fight, setting those boundaries. Like if I have a fight today, so we're already set in our minds that now we've come to a place where we both understand each other so well, and I take up responsibility in my own relationship. I'm talking about like self-awareness. If I'm aware that yes, I did this wrong, I will go and tell him. See, I know I am so sorry about this. You're opening up a space for the other person to talk to you, to listen, to build that trust between them that, we're all human and it happens with all of us. And something that's not done intentionally. Creating that boundary of communication. And because as we spoke earlier about toxic relationships, toxicity involves non-communication, and you can only start communicating freely, independently with your partner when you are aware of yourself. See, and we can't expect the other person to also do the same thing. Your self-awareness can be on some other level and the other person can be on another level. So we have to find our needs and understand those needs. What does he want? Well, maybe he doesn't like to talk. So if he doesn't want to talk about in detail, then let that be. Give them that space. Sometimes men are not wired to talk and express their feelings, right? So we have to give them that space. Talk to them when they are comfortable in sharing. As what we live in our society, men are not so comfortable in sharing anything. It takes a lot of heavy heart for them to actually say a few words, right? So setting healthy boundaries involves clearly communicating our own limits and our needs in the relationship. What my needs are important as well as the other person's. So let's not just push each other. This is me. It's like also a responsibility and duty to respect the other person. So that's what I feel that, this is how we set our boundaries, to say no when it's needed, to be honest and authentic. Many times you're not authentic. You just get carried away and influenced by things. So I think listening to your own self is also important in a relationship. Yeah.
Uh, what level of communication you can build with your partner? So there's love blooming in relationship. At the same time, there are healthy boundaries, and you're able to understand each other.
Hmm. Uh, Actually, yeah, we can start with many things that I have also practiced in my relationship. Earlier, I was a person who used to say, and most of us are like that. We always blame the other person. Start with a criticism. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't clean up the room. You didn't clean up that. You don't keep things on places, and you are criticizing, starting a conversation with the criticism, and it's about how you feel in the relationship. So when you have an intention in your mind, subconsciously your intention is clear. Uh, you also speak from your heart. You tell them how you feel. That is one technique I've realized is good, where you you tell them how you feel. That statement should start with how I am feeling, not like you made me feel upset, you made me cry. It's not that. We're just blaming the other person. Uh, that person is going to just crawl back inside in their own cocoon and not express themselves. It can be this technique can be used with anyone, any relationship, not just partners. I feel being honest with your own self that I felt that I am upset because of this. I cried because of my own triggers, my own reactions to things, my own past experience. It was not you. So first let's just tell them you it's not you who I'm blaming or doing anything, not making them feel small. Instead, you're understanding and accepting your own self. And that acceptance actually shifts your energy. Truly accepting something shifts your energy to a place of compassion, where you accept the things like you don't like, things that you want to ignore, things like when you're angry person, things like you fear something, things like you're insecure about something. Once you start accepting these things, you are in a space of compassion for yourself. And that's when things change. There's a difference in your relationship, how you communicate with your partner. I've seen that with my own self, with my own experience. See, I've been in a relationship for 18 years and we have gone from bottom to the mountain, climbed ways, traveled together, done so many things together. And uh, this has been my understanding that stop blaming the other persons. Start with your own self. You are only responsible for yourself and control can control only your own emotions. Nobody does that for you. You're just giving your control to someone else if you're saying that you made me cry. So yeah, that's some technique I've got.
And Madhulika, what can couple do so that they can work together, identify each other's behavioral traits? Maybe
Hmm.
if there are negative behavior, how they can work together to ensure the negative behavior of one spouse is not impacting other spouse, and they're able to have a cordial relationship.
That's that's brilliant actually. Couples often when they fight either go on silent mode and don't talk for days, weeks, months, and change in those negative behaviors can only come when they know each other. And there has to be some kind of commitment. Commitment requires uh, both partners to have the same intention. See, I feel that a behavior change can come and only when both are committed towards their own relationship. One thing that works for sure is uh, taking out few minutes of the day. Few minutes of the day, I mean 10 to 15 minutes at least. So if your relationship is going really bad and you want to work on it, take out 10 minutes of your time every day for each other. It's about just sitting with each other. Maybe you can be just quiet and not say anything without any phones or screens or anything. No distraction, just you and your partner. What that does is it actually increases your um, exchange of energies. See, many times these days we're all busy in our work. We're busy in our work with our families. Some have children, their mothers are busy with children, fathers are busy at work, or mothers are also busy at work and handling everything around them. Lots of things going on in their head. There is no sharing actually happening. No sharing of thoughts, no sharing of values with each other. सबसे basic human need क्या है? That is that someone understands me, someone really listens to what I have to say, what goes throughout the day with me. It can't be your friend all the time. Why did you marry someone? The whole point of having a relationship or a partner is someone to share things with you, emotional, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and that energy uh, really ignites something. I'm not saying, see, holding hands or say just doing something or the other helps a lot. Making a cup of coffee in the morning or green tea in the morning for your wife, her day will light up. She will feel, wow, someone has done for me. You know, this is just an example. It happens. If someone does something for you and you're busy the whole day, you will feel awesome, on top of the world. You'll feel, wow, my husband loves me so much. Just by one cup of coffee. And that really changes the game. So you shift your space from being upset to love. But if a husband has to spend one day looking at what the wife does, he should do that. If he can spare one day, he should do that. Just investigative mode mein, not like being on a helicopter and looking at what she's doing and what not. He should observe what your partner does. That is the best exercise you can do to get to know the other person, what they go through, what they do, what all they have to manage apart from themselves. And this goes for the wife also. See, husband is not just chilling, going out and chilling in his office. He's also working. He's also going under tremendous pressures of his own. So just imagining with all that pressure and stress and anxiety, I think when both of them can build some compassion for each other. And this is one thing that couples can start working with. Very, very simple exercise. Something that you can inculcate in your life.
I really love this idea of observing your spouse, what he or she is doing every day.
Hmm.
Uh, Madhulika, sometimes it so happens that you're doing best for your spouse, but at some point the other person is not satisfied. And this is usually observed for women. They are many times not happy with what their husbands are doing, and they tend to go into this self-sabotaging behavior, like doing things which would harm their own life, assuming that if it harms them, the spouse would look at them and treat them nicely. So how do we identify some self-sabotaging behavior that we demonstrate, and how do we stop them so it does not impact our relationship?
Okay. Uh, very deep and actually very important to address uh, these days, because I'm feeling that the self-sabotaging behavior is somewhere uh, is seen in a lot of women, and a lot of people that I have spoken to also. Um, it's a lot of negative self-talk, um, how they think about themselves, how they feel about themselves. And I think that sabotaging starts with fear. Um, Fear of alone, being alone. I think that is one of the things that I have come across. Fear of being alone is that you have you are getting bored, and it's becoming difficult for people to live with themselves, be in their own company, because they're always have. It's been a habit for them to be with someone always. It can be a friend, it can be your boyfriend or your husband, but that is a clinging need of validation from someone, of not um, having that confidence in yourself that you can do something on your own, or you can be with your own self also. So their self-awareness levels are low, and they are not able to come out of those depression and that self-talk. So we have to pay attention to the patterns that they do, like, intentionally picking up a fight, or intentionally um, uh, conflict out of fear, where making up a story in your head which does not exist in reality. Uh, because that is, I think, one of the things that I've experienced myself as well, where people have been doing that. Like someone intentionally cooks up a story, creates a conflict out of nowhere, and which I later realized that this was not because that I had done something wrong or someone else had done something wrong. It was because of her own insecurity, where she felt that she is being cornered. So, where people can also, and it all comes from fear of being left out, fear of being not loved. I think that is the most important aspect, which I feel that when people don't feel loved, they tend to have this kind of fear that they don't want to be left alone. They don't want to be left out on things. So there, I think only healing of and it can be with trust. Developing trust will be very difficult for such people. For such people, we need to first shift their mindset from uh, this insecurity to security. Making them feel that this is a safe space for them, because it's all in the mind that we feel insecure. It's all in the mind that we feel that there's no one for us, no one standing for us. Everyone is against you or conspiring against you. A lot of people have this issue, and I'm seeing a lot of families having these troubles these days. um, Parents and son and wife and son has some of the other issues going on. uh, Family relationships are being destroyed because of self-sabotaging behaviors. It can be help with the journaling. If that person is able to journaling helps in getting more clarity of your own thoughts. At least, you'll get to know that what is the fact and what is the reality. Many times I've seen myself as a child when I used to write a diary, or journal my own thoughts when I was angry or happy or whatever. I realized much later that this was real and this wasn't real. You can identify yourself. This is all about being mindfulness. Meditation can help you to a certain extent, but unless you shift your mindset, it won't be easy, and it's very harmful for your own relationship. Uh, and it's a red flag in a relationship definitely. It can be helped with the therapy, can be helped with the not with coaching, definitely, because self-sabotaging behavior requires some kind of understanding of emotions first and some trauma that they are dealing with. Hmm.
Madhulika, what would be those signs that would indicate that it's time to end relationship because it's not working out after you put in all your hard work in building that relationship? It could be somebody's negative behavioral pattern or individual self-sabotaging behavior or not able to come at same wavelength where you can have a safe space to discuss your heart to your partner. So in all these premises, what should be considered as these are the last nail where it's time to end the relationship?
I think the last thing would be when your relationship, it's just you're just trying to linger on and there's nothing left. Uh, when there's just survival in the relationship, that's the time you let go. So the as you said, the signs can be anything like where you have there's lack of trust, there's no space where you can actually express your feelings. You feel that there's manipulation, emotional manipulation. There is no trust in such situations. There is no trust, and there's a feeling of being trapped in a cage. Yeah, that is the time when that is the last thing I think that anyone would want. Being in a cage full of anxiety, fear, insecurities, and abuse. Emotional abuse is a huge thing. We don't consider it at all because जब तक कोई चीज दिखती नहीं है तब तक हमें वो पता ही नहीं चलता है. So experience करने के बाद भी हम आगे नहीं बढ़ पाते हैं because we feel that it's going to be like this only. Now we can't do anything. We just try to compromise with everything. I asked them why. Why do you want to compromise? Life, even if your life, you're left with a few years of your life, why do you want to compromise? This is such a beautiful life that you can live with independence, with your own awareness. And I think survival is the time that you let go of your relationship. If you're just surviving, if you're just being there uh, and not living it, it's time to walk away. Hmm.
You know, if an individual decides to move on from that relationship because for whatever reason it's not working out,
Hmm.
how can he or she prevent themselves from again falling back into same pattern of toxicity but with a different individual?
Okay. Yeah. Many times what we have I've seen is that a person who's have had breakup with someone and uh, she has been cheated by that person. You sometimes you tend to fall back many times. My son saw this lady go 3 times, you know, 3 times breaking up and going back to that same person and forgiving him for everything what he did. I think falling back happens because your own clinging nature, insecurities of abandonment issues, of not being loved enough, or yeah, or feeling that that no one else will be there apart from him. And it's not love. It's all about we see it as love, but it's not love. Um, what we can do is a positive change. What we can do is actually get complete with the past experience. get aware of your own actions, what you did wrong. Wrong maybe can be anything like accepting the other person um, even when the other person made you feel guilty about it, accepting the abuse that he's done. It's like accepting all that, that yes, this happened with me. But now, when you shift that, after acceptance, when you shift your intention, don't want to take that forward. You want to have a relationship which is more secure, a safer and a healthier relationship. So first you start cultivating your own relationship with yourself. Self, where you understand your fears, your insecurity. So once you start understanding it, and fear is something that you have to face to overcome. If that lady did overcome that relationship finally, and she broke up and she went to another person, married another person, she carried forward all that with him, with her in that relationship. And in a year, she got divorced with that person because she was carrying all that with him, with her baggage, her old experiences with her. The same guy cheated on her. But that's when she realized that she needs to work on herself, practice healthy habits to break that cycle of feeling miserable, feeling that victim mode for your own self, that I'm a victim. No. So shifting from that is the first thing that you can do. That shifting that from victim to a self-reliant person, to a happier person, to a more acceptance, from being invisible to being acknowledged. Acknowledge your own self. You were looking for a validation from one person and they didn't give you. Have you validated your own self? Have you seen who you are? So that cultivating self-love and self uh, awareness will help a person to move forward and not fall back to old patterns. Now, this girl where I was talking about, now she's married to this guy, and she's completed more than 2 years, and it's so beautiful. She's having fun. She's very happy because she shifted her life. She shifted her energy. That mindset was shifted from victim mode to happier mode, to being true to yourself, authentic to your own self. And consistency keeps the breakthrough alive. Um, being consistent with your awareness. Uh, this breakthrough will be alive with me only if I am continuing this love, cultivating my self awareness.
Okay, so now that a new relationship is started, and so what all positive narratives that an individual can build for themselves in this new relationship so it stays healthy and it goes on like a healthy relationship. Okay, if I have to rephrase it,
Hmm.
what key indicators that you would say that in a couple, when you observe a couple, what do you feel that okay, what would make a relationship a healthy relationship? Like, how do you identify that couples are going through a healthy relationship?
Um, if a relationship is healthy, you will see that they are very confident about each other in a healthy relationship, and that will be reflected in their aura, reflected in how they talk, how they behave with each other. You will also see that there is a lot of mutual respect for who they are. There's a lot of trust, no matter who says what about them. And there is communication. I mean, this is basic for every relationship. I'm sure everyone must have heard it from somewhere or the other, but it's reflective in your behavior. It's a healthy relationship will always be, there'll always be a lot of love. Sharing your values with each other um, will help you understand your partner well, because we are all governed by our values. We work on our values. Unconsciously, we have this kind of behavior, or whatever we do is all based on our belief system and values. So that is also reflective in a healthy relationship. Uh, sorry. And a lot of compassion, I feel, in me and my husband. Uh, we both have a lot of compassion for each other. No, I was a person initially, years before, who was very reactive to things, and a person angry. But this was something he never complained about. He was quiet, but he didn't never complained about. So he had a lot of compassion for me as a person, that who she is, truly accepting for who I am. But still, I managed to take control of my anger, and still managed to take control, because I thought it's not fair. It's not fair for my husband nor my child to have this kind of behavior. You know. Similarly, I have a lot of compassion because he is a very different person. I'm a very different person. For me, things has to be very organized, uh, but he's not organized. There are things we don't like about each other, but still we love each other. That's the beauty of a healthy relationship.
Okay, Madhulika, I really liked all the insights that you gave,
Hmm.
right from identifying what is toxicity in a relationship to breaking free from such relationship and building a healthy relationship. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your insight. It was pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Namrita. It was such a delightful conversation. In fact, answering those questions made me reflect and say things which I'd never thought I would. And really beautifully, it came out so beautifully. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
My pleasure.